Okay, and we have Torpedo Alley here, which is finally returned home after being out on loan for quite a long time now. It actually needs quite a lot of work doing on it now. It's not been maintained for some time. This display needs new mountings. These are all falling off. This display itself has had a few repairs on it. What have we got? The soundboard's okay. CPU board's had some work, but it seems to be okay. The power supply certainly wants a bit of work. This has got really old crappy capacitors and some very horrible burnt up connectors. Let's have a proper look at that. Let's get a zoom in. Yeah, that connector's all melted and someone's resoldered the wires on at some point straight onto the connector. That connector has gone a bit brown. Got a bit of a mess underneath, so we'll have to patch it up with some wire links, I think. These connectors look a bit like they need resoldering now, so we'll have to do all of those. PPV board. Again, it's a bit bodged up. Oh dear, that's a bit of a burn there. We got. Yeah, we have to. Oh, that's horrible. That we have to patch that up, do it properly, clean it all up. These connectors want reflowing as well. All a bit poor. Another one with soldered wire there. So there's quite a bit to do in terms of wiring. What else have we got? Oh yeah, the back box GI. You can see that's melted. God, it's got quite a few GI problems in this. Yeah, we'll have to sort all these out. Right, so we'll take a burnt connector. This is a 6-way, so I've got some brand new Molex connectors here. And we've got the Tri-Furcon pins. These are 3-sided ones. I can't really focus on that very well. What have we got? Wire cutters to cut the wires off individually. So you snip one new pin, put it into new housing, do it one at a time, keeping the order the same so you don't mix them up. And we've got the Molex crimper as well. So let's crack on with that. There we go, that's 1/2 crimped, so that's perfect, nice and tight. And we've got to do the other side of this now. And we're going to have to replace this, I don't know, what do we call these? The joining block, I can't remember what these are called, male-to-male adapter. The pins are a bit discoloured on this, we're going to replace this as well. Now we've got this chopped up mess to deal with here, where they can basically cut off of these connectors, going soldered straight on. So we've got the wiring diagram here. Can't see it very well in the fluorescent light, but we've got the colour coding on here, so we can get that connector off, put a new connector on here, get it patched up, put some wire links to deal with these dodgy tracks here, new connector on here, and it should all be good. Now the only tricky part is we've got some double wires here. I've got 2 yellows and 2 greens that go into the same pin, so they don't go into the crimp terminals correctly. So what you've got to do, well, this one's been sold together, you basically need to cut them a bit longer, twist them together, and then you got to, basically where the insulation would be crimping, you've got to crimp this wire as well, but it should be thick enough when it's twisted together like that. Then afterwards get the pliers and just make sure the crimp is on nice and tight, so no chance of slipping out, because it should be gripping onto the insulation really, but obviously it can't when it's like that. There you go, there's one just about done right. If you get the length just right, obviously it's going to crimp in here, but you also get a crimp where the insulation would be, and it's nice and strong. Well, the flux on this solder is horrendous. It clogged my desoldering up several times trying to get the solder off. It's all thick and brown, it's horrid. Let's get it all scraped off and cleaned up. It doesn't look as bad once it's been cleaned up. There's a lot of discoloration, but the holes aren't too bad actually. I think we'll reflow this relay as well. Some iffy looking solder joints on here. Well, some of these capacitors are looking old and iffy, so I'm going to see what I've got in stock, see if I can replace some or all of them, hopefully. The new connectors on over here. And I'm just going to check all these connectors out, see if any of these need replacing. That's the old scabby filter cap for the 5-volt supply, and this is the modern equivalent. This is a high ripple Panasonic long life, so this should last a good 20 years probably. They're rated for something like, I think this is a 6,000 hour cap, but it'll last way longer than that. Right, so I'm just going through and recapping the power supply, and this cap here, C2, is all bulged and leaking at the bottom. So this recapping is paying off. We need to clean up that corrosion there where it's leaked as well. Right, so I've replaced all the capacitors in the 5-volt section with long life Panasonics. I've not bothered with the high voltage ones as the high voltage circuit is no longer connected as I use LED displays in this game. So just been checking through the fuses, just got one that's bad. This one here should be 3 amp, this one here should be 3 amps, but it's got a 5, so I just need to change that. Right, so we've got the PPB board on the bench now, so we need to get all this off. Let's see if we can rescue it as best as we can. New connector obviously, check all the fuses out, test the diodes, test the transistors, and we'll straighten all these out. Make sure any of those got cracked solder joints, reflow them. Reflow all connectors, clean the connectors, or replace if any are burnt. That relay's annoying me, it's not on straight. I'm going to have to resolder that. That'll annoy me being like an angle like that. I've got a dodgy connector here, so we've got a new connector here as well. And that should be it. And we've just come to the end of a reel of solder. This is obviously a really annoying thing because every time I buy a reel of leaded solder, the price has gone up significantly. I remember when it used to be like 12 quid a reel for good 500 gram solder. Now for good stuff you're looking at like 45, 50 quid. So a massive increase in the price since they banned lead. Well, not banned it, but you know what I mean, they banned it in new production. Right, new connector there, new connector there. Cleaned up all the other connectors. Reflowed the solder on all the connectors. This managed to clean up okay, not too bad. Also, it's got a bit of burning to it. Straightened all these out, reflowed. All the fuses have been checked, they're actually alright. So I must have checked this at some point in the past, or by some amazing coincidence, whatever operator's had this game in the past hasn't changed them all to the wrong values. Right, so this power supply connector's done. All cables are nice and tight. Got the boards in, we're just wiring it all up. So I don't know if you remember what this wiring here looked like. It basically had all this stuff taped onto it. So we've trimmed it all back neatly. The only problem is, I've just looked at the manual to work out which pin is which. There's 2 green and whites, there's 2 brown and whites, there's 2 violet and whites, and there's 3 yellow and whites. Now the manual, I don't know whether you can see this. You can't see very well. Anyway, basically, each one of those goes into a specific position. Apart from the yellows, I don't know which. Basically, I think 2 has to go in 1. Which 2, I don't know. And again, out of the browns, say the brown and whites, I don't know which one goes into pin 1 and which one goes into pin 5. Because for some reason Data's used the same colour scheme for 2 different wires. Now one is like an incoming feed, one's an outgoing. Probably doesn't matter too much if that's all it does. But I'd still like to wire it correctly just to make future troubleshooting easier. Because if I put the input on the output and then I take the fuse out, I'm starting to measure resistance between the top of the fuse holder and a point in the play field, and it won't work if I've got it the wrong way around. But you know, functionally it should work fine. But what I'll do is I'll have to trace these out with the multimeter and see where they go, so I can go into the right positions. Right, I think we're pretty much done with the wiring now. Just put a new connector on here for the speakers, as one of the grounds is broken off, so the stereo sound wouldn't have been working. So we've done this one on the PPB, we've done this one on the PPB, this one on the power supply, and these GI ones for the backboard. Obviously we rebuilt the power supply, rebuilt the PPB, and we're probably ready to fire it up and test it now. And I'm pleased to announce that Torpedo Alley is working. I'll give it a full testing, but it's looking pretty nice.
Welcome, Commander.
Oh. Can't play one-handed. Yeah, looking good. Now while I was playtesting, I noticed that the right hand speaker wasn't working. So this is the crimp connector that goes up to the audio board. Clipped onto this yellow and black wire. Other end on here. I've got open circuits. There's a break in that wire somewhere. So this wire basically goes around here, and then where does it go? This way. So we'll have to cut all these clips off, and we'll replace that wire. There's clearly a break somewhere in the middle of it. Okay, so we're clipped on the speaker again. I managed to find some yellow and black wire from a scrap loom, so I managed to make it up exactly the same. And just put a new crimp pin on, and we've got continuity now. Right, we've got sound going out both of these speakers now. Fantastic. Dear East were the only ones that did stereo sound back in the day. In fact, hardly any pinball manufacturers have ever done stereo sound. So one of the things I like about Dear East is they put a bit of effort into the audio.